So I guess a couple of weeks ago it was announced that Total War is coming to mobile devices and that a separate team was created within the creative assembly for that. And we got the lead designer here, Renaud, who's going to tell us all about Total War Battles Shogun.
That's right.
And it's a Total War game, but it's different from what you'd see on PC.
Absolutely. The aim was, you could say that the PC Total War is a high-end, very hardcore game, excellent game. So probably, you could say, one of the best RTS you have on PC. So the challenge was simply to try to do that, okay, you've got these new platforms. They are very powerful now. In fact, more powerful than the PlayStation 2. So with that, we could reach a new audience, do something that is a game that is very easy to access, but we still want to do, let's try to do, one of the best RTS on handheld and specifically for touchscreen. So we took the decision to basically recreate an entire game, keeping Total War DNA. So it is a RTS, it is based on a very precise historical period, which is here the 16th century of Japan, so the Shogun area, where basically the country was unified after the war of several landlords, and someone managed to unify it. So it's the same background as Shogun 2 PC, but it's a totally brand new game, entirely designed specifically for handheld and touchscreen.
And speaking of that, what have you done, and sort of what do you feel constitutes a good RTS on sort of an iPad or a mobile phone?
Well, I would say two things. That first, you can easily play it. You've got quite a few RTS on the platform that probably are very good games if you play with a PC with a mouse, but on the platform, especially if you play on a smaller device like an iPhone 4 and iPhone 4S or an Android phone, but something that has a smaller screen and smaller touch screen, it can become very quickly very difficult to play. Maybe not at the beginning, but in the middle of a bigger fight. So the first thing was to say, we want something that is as easy to play as a Plant vs. Zombie for tower defense. Then you like tower defense or not, but you can play Plant vs. Zombie on your iPhone, it's very playable. That's exactly the type of accessibility we want. But on the other hand, it is still a Total War game. So, okay, it's accessible, but it has to slowly and easily ramp up to a rich game and a rich RTS experience with everything you demand from that. So basically, tactical depth, real strategic decision, maps that are different, game modes that are different, and something that doesn't feel like just a watered-down version of the main game, but just a rethinking of what it is to make a really deep RTS on another platform. And from the experience of the team, it was those devices are pretty close to developing for console. I've been working also on things like PlayStation 2, and it's a bit the same. You have to take the platform into account. You can't just say, oh, we've got a game system that works with a high-end PC, a mouse, and a keyboard. Let's just port that on the thing. Most likely, it's not going to end up with a very either playable or enjoyable game. So we had the chance to be able to start with a small team and trying things, prototyping, iterating, trying that type of UI, another one, doing focus tests, see how people react, change it, and make sure that, I would say, really anyone who has those devices can basically access the game and start playing it. After that, as I said, you like RTS or not, but you manage to play it, which is the first thing. And for Total War fans that are more or less hardcore player, we wanted to propose something that ramps up to a deep experience. A different one from, of course, the PC version of the game, but something that really feels, okay, that's real strategy, I've got choice to make, things to do, it's not just a little tap-tap game. That was what our objective was.
So how do you achieve that strategic depth in this game? Because it doesn't use the same sort of strategic map that you'd find in a Total War game.
No, Total War is known for being kind of a two-layered game, where you've got that huge strategic map, and then the battles that are in real time and large-scale battles. We basically blended that into the game mode you have, which is close to other RTS solution. If you play something like, I don't know, StarCraft, Warcraft, Command and Conquer from the start, or even the very early RTS like Dune, you were basically handling what is your economy on the same layer as what was your military tactical things. And that we went back to that, which is still something StarCraft 2 uses to very good success. And so in that one, you are both building your base, that is your economy, optimizing that base, trying to juice the most out of the space you have to deploy your base, while you are also handling your unit production and your battle, which means some micromanagement of your units, the tactical decision, which unit you pit again another one. After that, it's up to you to see how much time you spend on both fronts and how much time you have to optimize your base while you're under attack, or, okay, I managed to solidify a front that's going to last for a few minutes, so I've got time to optimize my base and try to build new troops to keep them out. That's what is a classical RTS structure, producing basically an economy that allows you to buy troops and then using those troops as tool to defeat your opposition, that is here an AI most of the time. But doing that UI-wise, control-wise, in a way that, okay, you can play it even on 3GS, that is a smaller resolution on the screen, and it's extremely playable. That's what we try to achieve. I think we're not too far from that.
There is a strategic layer to the board, or like the map that you're moving through the campaign, because you can pick and choose to do side missions if you want to.
Yeah, that's true. The structure of the game is narrative. You follow a story that is told through letters that have been read by some of the comedian that works on the PC version of the game. So it's pretty nice. So you can just listen to it, which I think for a handheld game is good, because if you're in the train, etc., you might not want to read things on your pad. So you probably have headphones already, so it's good to be able to listen to the story. And so that's the main structure of the game. You follow that story arc up to the end. But as you mentioned, you've got side maps. Those side maps are much harder, but they're optional. You don't need to beat them to finish the game. But if you manage to beat them, you get additional experience. That is basically the virtual currency for that game. With that experience, you can upgrade your troops, upgrade your building, and even push forward your general orders that are basically the type of power you can cast on your troop later on in the game. So if you have too much of trouble at some point with a main map, you can probably go back, play a few side maps that are usually two level, like hard side map and very hard side map, or probably medium side map and hard side map, beat them, get some experience, turn your samurai into elite samurai, increase by 5 or 10% the amount of gold this specific building is going to produce, and go back to the map. That will be slightly easier. Of course, as it is an iOS game and also on Android, there is the habit of you are capable of buying that virtual currency through in-app purchase, if you wish to do so, to directly have a boost in power, which is fair because you are basically battling against the game, not against the player. So you can't be unfair to the AI.
Just moving ahead, speeding things up a little bit.
Yeah, if you want, it can help you. Even if you buy all of the upgrades, beating the game will still be challenging. Not too hard. We hope the balancing is okay, but it doesn't make the game that easy. It's not just a I win button. That would have been totally out of the context of doing such a game.
So, is there any multiplayer as well?
Yes, there is. We have a multiplayer mode, and we decided to go for something that say people will be able to use. We did, well, probably you tried it, but there are quite a few, or quite a lot of handheld games that propose connected or online multiplayer modes. It doesn't work great mainly because you use usually Wi-Fi or 3G. There's not great connections. It can drop, etc. Well, we are well placed to know that in that sort of buildings, etc. You're always fighting to even manage to get your email. So imagine data packets sent between the server and the client. So we said, and also, you might just want to play with your friend here and now. So what we created is a multiplayer mode that is a real-time 1 versus 1 on a single device. So the way it works is that it's the exact same game system as the main game, but everyone is on one side of the device, and in real time, places troop, gives order to attack, etc. It's not turn by turn, so it's really a 1 versus 1 real-time multiplayer mode.
It's fun to look at people playing on that on a little iPhone.
Yeah. It's true. It's easier to play on an iPad or an Android tablet, etc. Still, it is very playable on an iPhone 4 or smaller. You have to play with a gentleman that is not going to try to prevent you moving your finger over the screen, because your finger can cross on that thing. But if you play with a friend, that's probably going to be okay. And the good thing is that you can just get the game out of your pocket, launch it, choose a map, a mode, free round, and bang, you play for 10 minutes or 5 minutes, done, you stop. You are not blocked because you don't have Wi-Fi here or whatever. So that's, I think, a multiplayer mode that people will play. So worth doing.
All right, and it's coming out very soon?
It's coming out on the 19th of April for both iOS and Android, so every iOS platform. I would like to insist on iOS, for example, that it's a universal app that adapts to the device you have. So it's absolutely running well on a 3GS and also running great, of course, on iPad 2. Probably also on iPad 3, if we manage, had not even been announced or released, and also covering as much Android device as we can. And it has a very limited footprint. It's just going to be like 300 megabytes. So I'm not going to use a lot of real estate on your disk, which is good because those devices can have 8 or 16 gigabytes. So it's better just to use 300 and not 1.5 gigabytes just for a game. So you can just keep it in a corner of your device and just bang a multiplayer game when you have a friend that would like to try it. Well, that's what we hope for. Anyway.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks a lot.